Welcome, everybody, to day one of competition for our 2025 National Championship out here at Reveille Peak Ranch. I am Lauren Khalil, and we are now focusing in on the men's 40-plus division. What they have on tap is Stage 5 Dingo. There's going to be a 15-minute time cap where they must complete 3 rounds of obstacles with an 80-pound sandbag for this division, and then they will move to the firing line. 12 shots of rifle about 60 yards out, and then 12 shots with pistol at about 16 yards out. We've so far been able to cover our women's elite heats. They worked with sandbags early this morning, and throughout the day, throughout today specifically, we'll be giving you a taste of several different divisions that are competing. About 150 athletes are out here that qualified for nationals. They will have 14 stages to compete throughout the next 3 days, and for the top 5 elite men and women, they will have a 15th stage to close out Sunday. But let's get back to the floor. We've already had one heat of the men's 40-plus division take the floor. Tim Szymanski, he is going to be our time to beat. We don't have the official time yet. We will try to get that to you before this second heat of our 40-plus division finishes up, but our men's 40-plus division has become more and more competitive over the past couple of years. Several of those athletes have aged up out of the elite competition, and typically the percentage points at the top of the leaderboard, they can be within just a couple percentage points, sometimes less than a percentage point. We saw some fun races. There was Tim Szymanski in the previous heat, also Nate Drum, 2 athletes that we have seen compete in our men's elite division. And also this year, Brandon Rodas, he was also in that heat, and he dabbled a little bit with the men's elite competition this past season. This will be their first stage of the day. I know it said stage 5. Depending where you're squatted, you won't necessarily go in the exact order. So as we get these heats started and you continue with our coverage, we'll mention what number of stage they've done for the day. We'll also be able to have some updated leaderboards for you to see. It looks like my videographer's trying to show me what the time of Tim Szymanski is there as we try to work with this broadcast. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll also have these videos on YouTube, but if you want to follow along to watch the live broadcast, this is where you will do so. As we mentioned, this stage, it's called Dingo, and this is actually a workout that's in memory of a former competitor. Dingo tragically passed away this past July during a training incident while preparing to row across the Atlantic Ocean. So this workout, as folks are doing it, as our athletes are doing it, I really hope that they know it's bigger than them. This is more than just a workout and a stage at our national event. It is truly in memory of him. Dingo, he was a longtime competitor, especially with his brother Map, who recently competed at one of our regional events, and both really great folks that have been competing, have been volunteering, and just part of the tactical games community. So as they take the floor, as they take the range, a lot of them are thinking about Dingo. And they are off. So the first thing that these athletes are going to do, they are going to make their way through the obstacle course. That doesn't necessarily start the beginning of the round. The round really starts once they grab that sandbag. And for this age group, they're going to be working with an 80-pound sandbag where they will alternate going up and over our different implements. So they must get under and with the bag under with their body as they approach the firing line, and they will do the opposite on the way back. So there'll be 2 full iterations before they can then move to the firing line. This is a 100-point stage. This weekend we have a couple of single modality stages, so either fitness only, shooting only, and those are only going to be worth 50 points. And athletes in this specific heat, the athlete that everyone's going to want to take down is going to be in lane number 1. That's Clint Gower. He finished first at Nationals last year, and he qualified this year in Reno, took 4th, but the top 4 spots were less than 3 percentage points apart. So as we're mentioning just how tight this field is, specifically the men's 40 plus, every second is going to count. And if you're new to tactical games, it's not necessarily the athlete that crosses the finish line first that's ultimately going to win, because you have to add in what their targets look like. For every miss, it's a 10-second penalty. So those shots are extremely costly. And all the way on your screen to the left, at the top left of your screen, that is Clint Gower. He is our leader. And it looks like he will make his way to his first firing sequence. So starting with the rifle, it's going to be about 60 yards out. And what they're shooting on that paper is there's 3 rounds, and each of them, they're going to have to get their 12 targets into 3 separate triangles. As more athletes approach the firing line, you'll also notice that each of them are going to have a different type of position that they feel comfortable in. Some will be crouched down with one arm trying to support on their knee. Other athletes will squat all the way down, or they'll be able to sit on their heels. A lot of what's going to take into account there is also going to be, what is your body type? Where are you in your best position that you can see through that scope? And you'll notice as they make their way down that barricade, they'll also have to tilt that rifle in order to see. So now it looks like we have everybody in this heat at the firing line. Clint now moving to his pistol, which is also going to be 12 shots. This one's only going to be about 16 yards out. And the pistol for all 3 rounds is only going to be from that top 90 port. For the rifle, they will have to alternate, and for each round, shoot in a different one. Time cap for this stage, 15 minutes. And Clint is done round 1, so now he'll make his way all the way back to that start-finish line, going under and then over, and then under one more time before he can then grab his sandbag and start his 2 iterations through this obstacle course. So every time they're going towards the firing line, they will bring the sandbag and body over, and then this tabletop implement that we have, they will go under. And then when they're moving on the way back, they will alternate. So one way to think of this is it will be down and back is 1, or if it's easier for you to count, 1 is down, back is 2, then it would be 4. And the way you carry this sandbag for this specific stage, whatever you're most comfortable with. If you want to drag it, if you want to stress carry it, if you want to put it over your shoulders.
We're trying to get that remedied for you.
Some of the other folks now making their way onto their second round. We also have John Erweiler. He is a retired firefighter. He's competing in this heat. He started tactical games back in 2023. Joey Roosh, he qualified this year, taking 5th in Florida. He placed 7th at Nationals last year. James Kling, he took 4th at Nationals last year. He's a personal trainer and started tactical games back in 2023. And then closing out this heat for our men's 40 plus, Ross Polk, he finished 9th at Nationals last year. And this year he was able to qualify for Nationals by finishing 3rd in Holt, Florida. There again, your leader, Clint Gower. And as you watch the athletes go under the implements, knowing where your equipment is, because I've seen athletes in the past, and we'll probably see it this weekend. Sometimes your plate carrier gets stuck if you don't get low enough, or making sure that your pistol is really secure in that holster to make sure that it's not going to get stuck on any of those implements and fall out is incredibly important. He will begin his second firing sequence here, again starting with the rifle, second of 3 rounds. So you'll notice Clint now has a different body position as he's made his way down the barricade. For the first round, he was able to sit back on one heel and use that right elbow to post it up against his knee. Now he's sitting with his legs just a little bit spread, but again, the knees propped, because you want to get that rifle to be stable as much as possible as you're trying to lower your heart rate. You're trying not to make that rifle move as you lock in. You line everything up and then pull the trigger. Once again, the yardage for the rifle is about 60 yards out. Now he's moving his way to his pistol. That will be shot from the top port for all 3 rounds. About 16 yards out here. And we apologize if that wind is making the audio a little bit grainy. We're going to try to find some protection. We are out here in the elements. Just one of the things that we love about tactical games. Every range is different. This one has beautiful red clay, but it does love to stick to you. Clint moving really efficiently through these implements. I'll be curious to see where he stacks up against Tim Szymanski. We just got an update. His time finishing was 12:51. Knowing that that time cap is 15 minutes, Clint at this rate should be around that time. But there are still 4 more men's 40-plus heats that will have to go through this stage. So there's a little bit of an advantage if you're able to see previous heats go before you, but to try to equalize things as much as possible, to not give people a competitive advantage that, you know, every stage this person got to go before me and I could chase their top time. For every stage, the squatting is changing based on what group of your division will go first on that. So Clint might go first on this one, or on Tim went first on this one. Clint might go first on a different one, and it will swap throughout the weekend. This will be Clint's 3rd and final round of work. Again, working with that 80-pound sandbag. Almost all of our divisions, that sandbag weight changes. For our men's elite, it goes all the way up to 100 pounds. But yeah, it looks like this weight for Clint is no problem, the way that he had it in that front rack and just popped it on up. Able to carry it pretty smoothly and hasn't had any issues yet. So you'll also notice he has his magazines in his hand right now. That doesn't happen for every stage, but a lot this weekend for Nationals weekend. It's just one other variable or element of complication as an athlete, knowing that every round you need to go back to that firing line and you need to pick up your magazines. Time and time again, we'll have a couple of athletes that will forget. They'll get all the way down to their firing line and they won't realize until the last second that, oh shoot, now I need to run back and get them. And when you're talking about divisions that have point spreads that are so close, less than a percentage point deciding who's going to be at top of the podium and not, It's going to come down to making sure that you remember to grab those magazines. What does your transition time look like? Are you hitting your targets or receiving misses, which for each one is going to be that 10-second penalty? And talking again about Clint, who has been our leader throughout this entire squad, yet again, a different position now that he's made his way even further down the barricade. He's in what I like to call a frog position, where he's on his knees but sitting all the way back or as far back as he can on those heels. You'll also see some athletes that will lay down to the side. You'll also see some of our broader athletes actually able to sit in a prone position. Myself, as standing at just over 5'1", I can't be prone in that position. I can't get propped up high enough. But some of our bigger athletes, a lot of our men with broader shoulders, will actually be able to do that and still able to see out of their scope. And Clint now done at the firing line, and he will run back to clock in a time, but he first has to make his way up and over all of these implements, and we'll see how it stacks up with Tim Szymanski from the previous heat. And on the screen now, actually, we have perfect 12:32. So he will beat Tim Szymanski's time from the previous heat. But we don't actually know who the winner is. So going to practice score, that's where we're going to have all of our updated leaderboards once the total scores, total times rather, get input, because it truly is going to come down to who shot better. Because that's only about 2 misses that separates their times. Each of them worth 10 seconds. So we'll have to see how that pans out. And again, if you're not super familiar with practice score, if you just go to thetacticalgames.com, we will have a direct link to that. Also, if you're looking to come out to Revelry Peak Ranch this weekend, it is free to spectators. We have vendors out here. You can watch all of the action. We also have the information, if you're new to spectating, on our website. But just making sure that you bring your eye pro, making sure you bring your ear pro. I promise you, it gets very loud out here at the range. Little ones are also welcome as long as they stay with you. This is a range where people are shooting guns, so not having your kids running around, making sure they are also in ear pro and eye pro, all of those important things to have a safe and fun weekend. Closest to your screen, John Erweiler. And then right next to him in the middle, that's Joey Roush, who's now finishing up and making his way to try and finish within that 15-minute time cap. $171 total athletes that qualified for nationals this year. Throughout the season, folks, we had 12 opportunities, 12 regional events. That's the most regional events that we have done in Tactical Games history. And if you're already looking forward to 2026, guess what? We have even more. We'll have 15 regional events. If you're interested in registering, all of that is live on our website. And a couple of them are going to be abroad. So we talk about that growth of the sport. Just this weekend, we have folks from Poland. We have folks from France, Canada, of course, the U.S. But we just continue to expand and make ourselves globally known, which I think is really cool for the sport. That's going to do it for our men's 40-plus division. We will keep this stream up throughout the day as we make our way covering a couple of different stages and different divisions. For Lauren Khalil, I'm out here at Tactical Games. We hope you continue to stick around, and we'll see you for the next video.